For more on Myanmar, I spoke to Murray Hiebert, Senior Fellow for the Center of Strategic and International Studies, and I asked him about the significance of that country hosting the ASEAN Summit.
You know, they launched reforms in 2011 in an attempt to get out from under the sanctions, and so they've introduced some democratic reforms. They've opened up the country to foreign investors. They freed a lot of political prisoners, freed the press. And so this was sort of their coming out party, the beginning of it. They're going to have a series of meetings with their ASEAN colleagues this year. But it was, they're trying to showcase their country and what they've achieved through hosting these meetings. So it's really a big deal for them.
Myanmar has come a long ways in just the last few years. I'm talking about infrastructure development, roads, bridges, freeways, schools, and the like. How big of a role has China played in that?
China has, for years, been Myanmar's biggest investor. They have built roads, they have developed some mines, they have built some factories. And so China has traditionally, because most of the West, Europe, United States, were out due to sanctions, they're now coming back, but China is over the years still by far the largest investor. The newest investor probably, and right now the biggest investor year on year, is probably Japan, which is building some special economic zones and those kinds of things.
You're obviously speaking to a lot of global international folks interested in investment. What's the number one thing that you'd like to tell people around the world, that perhaps the one myth or the one thing they've gotten wrong about Myanmar over the last couple of years?
Well, I think if you are looking to, if you're talking to business people, this is, yes, they have reform, but they have a long way to go before they're going to be a great place to invest. They have legal problems. They have to get a legal structure in place. The infrastructure, despite some construction, is still very far behind in terms of roads, electricity, ports. It's in Yangon itself, it's very expensive. This is a very tough market. It's going to be years till it is investors' paradise.
Is it strange that a place like Yangon has, become in a very expensive place in the midst of a very poor area, if you will? And some folks are critical and are saying that it's too much too fast in terms of the rising costs.
Well, the costs are due. I think you're referring to things like the cost of real estate and hotel rooms, which have just gone through the roof in recent years. The reason for that is they didn't have the infrastructure before, didn't have the office buildings, didn't have the hotel space. Now suddenly have an influx of foreigners and aid donors and a surge of foreign diplomats arriving. Suddenly the demand has gone way through the roof, and there just isn't the space. And so, no, the same thing happened in Vietnam when Vietnam opened in the mid-90s. That's quite common. I think right now you're seeing a lot of construction, and then I think in a few years you're going to see the price of real estate gradually come back down and be more on par with its peers in the region.
When you look at business opportunities, obviously you mentioned China is already there. But in terms of natural resources and energy, what might they offer to other international investors looking at that?
Well, most of the mining capabilities in terms of minerals, logging, hydropower resources is in that arc along their northern border from Bangladesh to China, to Laos and Thailand. The resources are all there. That area is that's an ethnic minority area. The ethnic minorities have been fighting the government for years. There's now a peace process underway. It's going slowly. They're trying to negotiate a ceasefire. The goal is now to have a ceasefire by August. After that, they have to start political talks. Really, I think foreign investors are going to be a bit wary of getting involved in the minority areas that have the most potential on the resource side until there's some kind of a peace process.